We're gonna put you on Shark Tank next.
Good. Don't let Christy see that logo.
Somebody quick.
I know. The branding's all wrong.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of Cedarfield, both residents and team members. Happy Wednesday to everybody, April 1st. I hope this live stream finds you all well. Before we get started with our agenda, which is the following, I have a couple of opening remarks, followed by Reverend Florence Brooks has some spiritual religious health for us. And then after that, I have a couple other administrative announcements. But before we go into our normal live stream format, hopefully you all are seeing to my left, your right, an invention that the maintenance team is in mass production now of making 9 of these portable hand washing sinks. So when I talk about the staff are being redeployed in certain ways to meet the demand of keeping people healthy and safe and protecting everybody, this is a great example. And I am going to turn over a demonstration to Jack Johnson. Jack's just going to walk us through it. Soon, within the next couple of days, each of the 9 main entrances to the main building will have a prototype. So Jack, can you show the residents how this thing works?
All right, so, you got foot pump here at the bottom.
So you have a foot pump at the bottom that will allow some, here, move to the side, Jack, so they can see it here. We have a soap dispenser. We're washing our hands for 30 seconds. Maybe, let's just fast forward and pretend we are, right, Jack? And then we can pump again using our foot that pumps water to rinse off the soap. All being filtered into another bucket. And we have sanitized towels.
Yep.
So all of this product here is being procured by our Cedarfield team. All the parts, this actually prototype was just painted about a half hour ago, primed and painted.
Yes.
So it's primed to go into production here probably in one of the entrances.
This one's ready.
This one's ready. So this is great. How much was this, Jack, you think?
Maybe 150.
150 bucks to make one of these. If you go online right now and try to find a portable hand washing sink, Renee was just privy to one that we were looking at that's available tomorrow for $3,000. So this thing cost us 150 bucks. We're going to make 9 of them. One will go at the Parkview entrance, A wing, B wing, and C wing over there by Assisted Living Bridge, the team member dining area or team member entrance, and the main entrance to the building.
Yep.
I think that equals 9. So Jack, please thank your team for this incredible invention. This is just unbelievable.
Glad
Many
to.
people are probably asking us, well, why are we spending the time to do this?
If we run out of hand sanitizers, we gotta have a way to wash our hands when we enter the building.
That's true. So Jack had just commented, those of you that couldn't hear him, that there are many organizations that have been promising to to hold on the production of whatever product they have. Many distilleries, as an example, and they have promised and or contracted with the federal government to make more hand sanitizer, Purell type of liquid. And we thought we'd just be a little bit more proactive around here in the event that we did not get a shipment, so that we could have some way for every person coming through the main entrances to sanitize their hands. So this is great.
All right.
Please thank your entire team.
I
It's
will. Thank you.
absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Jack. I feel like I want to wash my hands right now, Renee. Maybe when our next guest comes on board, maybe she'll wash her hands before she sits down in this chair. So I just want to start off with a quote from Alice Spillman. Alice called me today and she said, "Michael, could you please tell everyone the following?" Alice said, "God is in our kingdom here at Cedarfield. All you have to do is look around. Open your eyes and look around. The beauty of our flowers, the beauty of our trees, the beauty of our landscaping, the beauty of all 100 acres of this great property." And Alice went on to say, "Things will get better. But for now, go outside, take a deep breath, as Florence told us to yesterday, and appreciate what God has created for us here at Cedarfield." Thank you very much, Alice. These inspiring words. If anybody else over the next couple of days would like to share a quote of theirs so that we can use that quote as a kickoff to this live stream, please contact the administration office. Thank you so much, Alice. One of the most frequently asked questions I receive is, "Michael, we're really doing a good job. 90% of us," some people say 95, some people say 99% of us, or whatever the percentage is, we're doing a really good job. Can you please stop beating us up about flattening the curve?" And I'm not going to make an apology for it. I keep making these public service announcements to complement what y'all are hearing on CNN or Fox News, whatever your channel of choice is, because my job is to protect 100%. And this little virus is very slippery. It's unlike anything we've ever seen before, and we still don't know it. We're researching it. And it takes 100% of us vigilantly adhering to our self-quarantining and social distancing practicing. So I thought, rather than going into a little bit more detail about those two terms, I thought I'd just take the opening comments here to talk about what are the Cedarfield preparedness plans? What are we doing? What have we done? What are we doing right now? And where are we going with our current preparedness plan? So for the next couple of minutes, I just want to highlight, I took a top 10 list of things that we are currently doing to be proactive as a management team. First, can somebody tell that lawnmower to stop outside? First, our preparedness plan talks about a couple of different people that we have to designate into certain positions. So we have a planning committee. We have a preparedness planning committee. And that preparedness planning committee comprised of many people on the leadership team of Cedarfield, our medical director, Dr. Varanian, and one of our physicians, Dr. Amy Shear. That team of people have met 3 times thus far, looking over our entire preparedness plan, and it's an evolving plan that we are looking at and refining based on the fluidness of this disease. So we have a planning committee. We have a influenza prevention action team, and that influenza prevention action team is more of a higher level group of people, making sure that we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's within that plan. That action team comprised of myself, Matt Dameron, Ann Hopper, our wellness clinic nurse, Melissa Sellers, our director of nursing, and Dr. Varanian, our medical director. We've met 3 times thus far, and we are meeting every week to ensure that our preparedness plan is being implemented. And if there's components that we have to adjust, brainstorming about how to make those adjustments. We have a pandemic response coordinator, and that's yours truly. I have been designated as that coordinator. We have a public health advisory monitor. So somebody that on our team is constantly looking at social media or the websites for the most current information, and then feeding that information to the Cedarfield team and the planning committee. We have a public health communicator. That individual is responsible for making sure that any information that goes to the department and that needs to go to the Department of Health is done so on a timely basis. And then we have a media coordinator, and that individual, in the event that the media either calls Cedarfield or media shows up on Three Chop Road, that person is there to respond to those inquiries. So inside of the preparedness plan, I just want to highlight 9 different areas. One is the plan has a surveillance and detection and presence of pandemic influenza or the COVID-19. So there are many plans within this specific category where the team has we have a resident tracking tool. And every day, in every level of care, we are monitoring every resident on this campus to the best that the intel is coming to us about flu-like symptoms or respiratory symptoms. And we're reviewing that tracker every day, 7 days a week, to make sure that those residents are getting the services that they need. Currently on this campus, there are no flu-like symptoms, and there is not one resident that has a respiratory symptoms in any level of care. The second part to our preparedness plan has to do with communication touch points. So this is one of our touch points, making sure that we're utilizing live streaming to the best of our ability. We have listed 7 different modes of communication to the residents and or family members. This live stream, we're communicating via memo format so people can read items within their own apartment or cottage. We have Touchdown, where we're constantly posting information. We have our coronavirus hotline number, which is 474-8799, where I'm updating that hotline every day at 10 o'clock. We have our website that's up with fresh information probably every 3rd day. And then we're utilizing that call-em-all system to blast out information to team members. I made another call to team members last night, to residents, and to the powers of attorney and responsible parties for those that have loved ones living in assisted living, the health center, or Sunshine Plaza. So that's our second major category, is communication touch points. The third has to do with a communication plan. And that communication plan has to do with how and when do we organize ourselves so that we are talking with the Department of Health, so that we're talking with the Department of Social Services, a representative from the CDC, our leading age advocacy group, a contact from there, and then the Virginia Health Association Coalition. So this communication plan takes into account the number of conference calls that one of us on the planning committee are a part of to filter in the most recent information, and then we use that information to build a more fluid preparedness plan. So that's the third category, is our communication plan. The fourth area has to do with the contingency plan assessment for each department or neighborhood. So over a month ago, every department and every neighborhood was responsible for fine-tuning what we already had as an assessment plan. Meaning, if we had an outbreak of influenza or now COVID-19, what does that plan look like? Which team members are essential? If we had to reduce our staff by 50% because we had a surge of an outbreak here, what services would we need to curtail? Who would be responsible for those services? And so my predecessor, Nancy, and the team at the time done an unbelievable job when H1N1 was around. They went through a similar exercise, so we dusted off that assessment plan and used it as our foundation. And it's a current fluid plan right now. Each of the directors, along with their managers and supervisors, looked at that plan and added to it, given the current environment and the variances of what they needed to add, given this COVID-19 touches or policies that the CDC is recommending that we add into our preparedness plan. So that's the fourth area of our preparedness plan. The fifth area has to do with education and training with the staff. Infection control issues and education, how to utilize the personal protective equipment, how do we prioritize when people utilize that equipment, when we have a room that's isolated, what services we provide, how do we communicate with people who are providing those services. And that plan, this category is alive and well. And this one's probably the most fluid because there's a lot of information that the Department of Health is feeding us almost every day that we need to include within our plan. So just over these past 5 days, one of our neighborhood leaders, Connie in assisted living, has done an unbelievable job of educating all the team members about proper hygiene, what to do with our clothes as we're leaving Cedarfield and get back to our normal situations, and how to take them off and clean them, and it's really an unbelievable training. So that's our fifth area. Our sixth area has to do with infection control. What are we doing right this second to minimize the prevention? What are we doing? How are we sanitizing the community? And there are certain members of the team that are designated to making sure that all of the frequently most touched areas are cleaned, if not once, but multiple times a day. Sharon and the housekeeping team have doing a superb job. Every time I'm walking up and down the hallways, I smell lemon or bleach or some other scent to know that they've been in that specific area very recently, both in the independent living side of the building, in assisted living, Sunshine Plaza, and the health center. So that's our 7th part of our plan, is the infection control. The 8th part has to do with occupational health. And this plan, this category, takes into consideration all of the policies and or practices that we have in place to protect the team members. So we have a master plan policy that takes into account our vacation time, our supplemental leave bank. We now have a policy statement about working from home, how team members can access, who's eligible, first of all. Secondly, who can access their supplemental leave bank. And then fourthly, if God forbid somebody on our team comes down with a diagnosis of COVID-19, how do we respectfully treat that person with respect to time? And so there's a policy around how to treat that person so that they still have enough hours to be able to quarantine themselves for 14 days and not have to worry about a paycheck. The 8th, I think I'm on 8th, the 8th area has to do with supplies and resource provisions. So we are constantly trying to look at our inventory of gloves, our inventory of N95 masks, our gowns, our shoe slippers, our face shields, all of the supplies that are needed to have a meal delivery program. We are constantly, several times a day, there are people that are designated to making sure that we're out there surfing, utilizing our contracts, and or surfing the internet to procure supplies that we need to take care of residents in the event that we do have an outbreak. I can tell you right now, we have an adequate supply of everything I just listed. If we had if we even had a surge in an outbreak, we have the appropriate supplies to last us for a few weeks. Additionally, the Pinnacle Living office is utilizing their network and their contracts to help us procure supplies on a more massive procurement schedule. So we have on order several thousands of some of the items that I just mentioned. And then the 9th area of this preparedness plan has to do with the media. In the event that the media does come to the community, or the media calls the administration department and asks us certain questions, we have a plan in place of a variety of questions that we will answer for them. The last plan, the last category to the preparedness plan, is probably the most fluid. And it's one that really was not in our preparedness plan to begin with. So we partner with many, I label strategic partner. We have many people, many organizations that we partner with to bring to life the Cedarfield operations. All of those organizations now have new process and new protocol to protect themselves from risk, and we now have to adapt to all of those providers' new policies and practices. And so part of our preparedness plan is talking with the chief of police almost every day and looking at what their new provisions are, so that if there's a 911 call on this campus, how do we partner together to make sure that resident gets the right paramedic care and then a transport to an acute care setting. Pharmacy is another a great example. Those of you that are utilizing family care services, pharmaceutical services, they're constantly changing or asking us for a new protocol. Our home health partners, our hospice partners, our physician services are now telemedicine. And so our clinical leaders of each of the neighborhoods on the license side and Ann Hopper are doing an unbelievable job of partnering with all of these entities I just mentioned and making sure that we have the latest, we have an open line of communication, first of all, and that we are talking with them about their most current practices to be rest assured that if when an event comes by our way, given their discipline, that we're ready to partner together and make sure that it's as seamless as we can make it. So those are our 10, 11 areas of our preparedness plan. I just wanted to give you a very high level of it. The team has been actively working on this preparedness plan over the last 6 weeks, and I feel really good about it. I feel good about where we're at with it. I feel good with the confidence, the temperament, how calm the team members are that are in and around this plan, because it's ever changing. We're coming in every day, and we call it a leadership huddle. Florence referenced it yesterday. We have a leadership huddle every day, 7 days a week at 8:30, and we have an agenda list of things to talk about. And so I want you to feel confident. In the middle of all of the last 2 weeks where we had these live streams and chats about restrictions and what we're changing for you, the resident, to protect you and keep you healthy and safe, I wanted to spend at least 15 minutes here to give you some assurance that this plan I just mentioned is alive and well. And I feel really good about it. So, with that, do we have any questions about the preparedness plan, Renee? Okay, I'll address that in a little bit. That's not a preparedness plan. Okay, next up, Florence, would you like to wash your hands, or are you just going to come sit down? Are you going to wash your hands?
Absolutely.
Okay. Reverend Florence Brooks is here for perhaps 10 to 15 minutes to talk to us about our spiritual health, many of the things that you could be doing inside of your assisted living apartment, health center apartment, or those of you that live in independent living, and or the array of services that Trish and Margaret and Annie and Florence have been creating to make sure that your spiritual religious needs are met. So glad you're here.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Michael. It's so good to be here. It's so good to be with you all this afternoon. I hope that you're having a wonderful Wednesday. We're just grateful to you for allowing us to come into your homes during the week and share with you a bit about what's happening at Cedarfield. As Michael said, I'm Florence Brooks, the Director of Pastoral Services, and we have a team of 4, including myself, Trish Carter, a staff chaplain, Annie Van Hook, who is our chaplain intern, and Margaret Ernstis, who's our administrative assistant. Long before the coronavirus was part of our world, we articulated our vision for our work to be these 4 key elements: to offer hope, to create community, to provide meaning and purpose, and to offer care in the midst of life transitions and losses. It's so interesting that now with the coronavirus, those 4 key points of our work seem more relevant than ever before. We've really been focusing these last few weeks on trying to reach you in ways that will give your life meaning and purpose, as well as provide hope and continue to build community. One of the key ways we do that is through our Sunday service. Many of you have shared that you're tuning in on Sunday mornings at 10 for our worship, which is live streamed each Sunday, and our team provides that service for you. This Sunday, as many of you know, is Palm Sunday, and we will be having our service. And at the end of that service, we're going to have a love feast together. And so in preparation for that, I want you to be sure, make a note and have a cup of coffee or a cup of juice and a little something to nibble on for part of that worship experience. I'll remind you again on Sunday morning about that, but perhaps that piques your curiosity and you'll plan to join us this Sunday and be part of that experience. We've placed, in addition to the Sunday service, we have 2 other programs that are live streamed. On Monday mornings at 10, Trish Bracken Carter live streams morning prayer. And on Thursday mornings at 10, she live streams a gathering called Joyful Reflections. Both of those experiences are meant to lift your spirits and to provide you an opportunity to come together in prayer and receive a message of hope. We hope that you'll tune into those. In addition to these live stream offerings, we have several offerings on the My Cedarfield app. And we try to upload new content to that app under the Pathways to Wellness Spirituality tab on a regular basis. Some of the content includes a link to the Shabbat service on Friday evenings. This past Friday, the first of those services was made available to our Jewish residents and others who might be interested. Those services begin at 6:15 on Friday. And again, they're live streamed to the app, and we were so delighted to see how well that worked this past Friday and to hear that several residents did indeed use the app to access that service and participate in it. For those residents who participate in Bible study or those who might be interested in the content, the Bible study video is uploaded each week on Monday. It's available for you certainly by Tuesday morning, as well as the Bible study handout. Those remain on the app through the week and will remain on the app for the entire series of each study. We plan, as this study comes to an end, to begin another study. Plans are already in place to begin offering that through the app as well. Many of our residents have shared that they've been accessing that as well. Just know that if you choose not to use your phone, if you have a laptop or computer, you can access the My Cedarfield app through those interfaces as well. Another resource through the app are hymn reflections. We have one up so far, a hymn reflection on Blessed Assurance. We have a couple of more recorded. They're not ready to be uploaded yet. I anticipate that they'll be uploaded the week after Easter. When residents have requested information relating to things that we've shared in worship or through the live streams, we've uploaded that content onto the My Cedarfield app as well. Of note was the poem that I shared earlier this week entitled When This Is Over. That poem is also available through the My Cedarfield app. Some of you may have noticed that we have a remembrance for a resident that was posted yesterday on the app. In the future, we hope to make available to the Cedarfield community resident remembrances for those who have recently passed. We'll also be recording and posting several meditations, guided meditations using psalm prayers or breath prayers, a resource that many of you may find helpful in not only providing a spiritual connection, but an opportunity to calm your spirit and to connect with your soul. Look for those to emerge the week after Easter as well. Several of you have contributed to our thoughts for the day. Those are posted on channel 970. We have a new thought for the day each day, and those residents who've allowed us to do so, we note their name on those thoughts for the day as they emerge. We have lots of content and welcome your content as well. If you have a thought for the day you would like to share with us, please email it to our office or just write it down and slide it under the door, and we'll post those in due time. Most importantly, I want you to know that we're here as a resource for all of you. Our primary focus is relationship building to support and encourage you in life's journey at all times, not just at times like these. I'm really grateful to Michael for his invitation to be part of these live streams and to be part of the Daily Huddle. All these opportunities are meant to encourage you. I found it interesting that the word encourage means to be with one in courage. And I think that's really what we're about, to be with you not only in spirit, but in courage. We want to give you courage to face the challenges of life, courage And what a blessing it is to share in this journey with you. If you have questions, I hope that you'll text or certainly call us and let us know. We're happy to let you respond to any questions or even suggestions that you might have. Again, thank you so much for allowing me to share with you. Renee, is there anything I need to be aware of?
What channel are the prayers on?
Yes. So the live streams are on 971, and that's morning prayer on Mondays at 10, on Sundays at 10, and on Thursdays at 10. There are also on the My Cedarfield app are some resources. Today we just uploaded a resource called Strength for Spiritual Care for Times of Trouble and Crisis. So I hope you'll look at that when you have a moment. It offers lots of suggestions and thoughts for how you can find strength and solace during this time. Thank you so much. Excuse me.
Thank you, Florence. And for those of you that are following along on Be Thou My Vision, hopefully everybody has a copy of that in their apartment and or cottage, assisted living, health center. And those of you down in Sunshine Plaza Memory Support, hopefully you're utilizing this tool. It is an unbelievable resource. Just a couple other things administratively. I mentioned on, today's Wednesday, I mentioned on Monday that we were going, the management team is going through a tabletop exercise. So by the end of the day, we will have 3 residents. We're calling them residents: Mr. Superman, Mrs. Wonder Woman, and another resident that are actively in our caseload that we are monitoring. And we are utilizing these particular cases so that the team can practice the policy of what we need to go through in the event when we have our first case. So some of you in assisted living and some of you in the main building here, by the end of the day, might see some isolation type of signs and or barricades around certain apartments. And that's because those 2 apartments or 3 apartments are our tabletop exercises. I want to repeat, there are no known COVID-19 cases at Cedarfield at this time right now. We are in practice mode. We're utilizing the policies we have in place to practice. Transportation is alive and well. We continued our drop-off supplies shuttle program today with the cottage folks. Not quite sure how many folks in the cottages took advantage of that. But on Friday, for those of you that are listening now or listening to this video later tonight, on Friday, that program will continue for the residents that live in Health Center, Assisted Living, or Sunshine Plaza. The supermarket shopping with Ann Reed, Monday through Thursday, is going very well. She has an army of 4 or 5 people right now. It's going very well. They are utilizing 2 different shopping excursions. One is Kroger and the other is Walmart. So we think between the 2 of those organizations we can find the product that residents may need. And then lastly, the Cedarfield store is open for business Monday through Friday, 10 to 3. We're going to start having 1 resident go in at a time for precautionary measures, but the store's open. James Green and team have been doing an awesome job of making sure that it's stocked appropriately. So those of you that still need toilet paper, instead of going out and trying to buy large quantities of toilet paper, I'd encourage you to stop down to the store, because right now we have plenty of it. Anything else about transportation? Any questions about no? One more little area of tidbits with administration. We have a new screening tool at the gatehouse. For anyone coming into the property, we modified that tool, particularly around the question of asking the individual if they've traveled within the last 14 days, have they been on a cruise ship in the last 14 days, have they worked, lived, or visited another location that has a confirmed COVID-19 case? And then the last question is, are you complying with the governor's mandate on March 30th, which is the stay-at-home order and all of the preventative measures that the governor asked us all to do while we're in our home. So one of the other frequently asked questions Renee and I have been receiving all day is, on outbound of Cedarfield, are we only screening residents? And the answer is yes. And the reason for that is, this is your home at Cedarfield, and so we're only screening residents outbound because we're utilizing the same questions inbound for all the team members and other visitors that are considered critically necessary. We have an enormous amount of education going on for the team members right now. We are vigilantly trying to help every team member understand the importance of what they can be doing to protect themselves and to protect their family. So please know that I know a lot of residents have a concern that me or any other team member is leaving Cedarfield, and then therefore, we're not practicing proper hygiene. We have a massive communication going on right now so that the team members understand what their role is outside of Cedarfield. I want to thank all the residents for your acceptance, especially those of you that live in the main building here, of our United States Postal Mail Service program. It's going very well. I cannot thank you enough for your acceptance. The U.S. Postal Carrier is in all of what we are doing, as I had mentioned yesterday. So keep up the good work. We're keeping this place sanitized, we're keeping everybody safe, and I really, really appreciate your efforts. One last item is a caution alert. I mentioned this, I think, on Friday. Unfortunately, in times of crisis like this, there's a lot, the thievery increases exponentially. For those of you that are getting weird phone calls, if you don't know who is on the other end of that phone, or if somebody, is questioning you, or the latest one I heard was, "Hey, Mr. Smith, this is your niece," and won't say the person's name. "I haven't talked to you in a while. How you doing?" And then the conversation just starts ensuing. So please be very mindful of the phone right now and who's calling you. The thieves are out there in full force, unfortunately.
They can access the live update.
Oh, okay. Renee just wanted me to remind everybody that if anybody would like a repeat look at this live streaming, you can either log into your Cedarfield app on your smartphone. For those of you that have computers, you can log into Every single one of us has a personal responsibility in this situation, and every one of us has a role in the solution. We have no known COVID-19 cases at Cedarfield at this time. In closing this afternoon, I just want to quote somebody who I actually said to the team members last night. The quote goes something like this: "It is by standing on the shoulders of giants that gets us going." Isaac Newton penned that phrase. He pointed out that we see more and farther not because we have a keener vision or a greater height, but because we are lifted up, and we are stronger because those around us help us discover the truth and the facts, because you discovered those facts throughout your lifetime. And I just want to end by saying that you, the residents, are the giants for us. We are standing on your shoulders. That's why we work at Cedarfield. We work at Cedarfield because we love serving people 65 years of age and better. For those of you that are delivering accolades, we appreciate that, not only because it's uplifting for the team members to hear, but it's also refreshing to know that the services that we are providing are meaningful to you. There are some residents that are hunkering down in their apartments and we don't hear from them. And we consider you our giants as well. There's a reason why you are living here, and it is our job to help protect you, to keep you safe, and to keep you healthy. So those of you that are silent out there, I just want you to know too, that you are our giants as well, and we are standing on your shoulders. I can promise you that. We're all in this together. So on behalf of all of the residents out there, thank you for lifting us up, not only the management team, but everyone that works here. We hear you, we hear your accolades, and we appreciate it. So with that, Florence Brooks is going to end us with some spiritual help.
Thank you, Michael. I did want to share one more thing. As many of you know, we set up a prayer line and a remembrance line, and we've been receiving many calls to both of those lines, both persons and prayer needs, as well as messages for loved ones of those who have passed. I wanted to thank you for those messages and let you know that we are receiving and recording those. In closing, would you join me in prayer? Divine love, please touch the hearts of us all to love our neighbor, to have compassion for those in need, to be generous in spirit and charity, and to live in hope this day and all days to come.